If you're seeing this, it's not a coincidence. This message found you because it was meant to. God is about to shift something in your life. A sudden change. A quiet elevation. And when it happens, you must tell no one. Not because you're hiding, but because not everyone is meant to understand what's coming for you. Listen closely. This might be the confirmation you've been waiting for. You've always felt different, haven't you? Even when you were surrounded by people, there was this quiet distance inside you. Like you were there, but not fully seen. You tried to fit in. You tried to explain yourself. You tried to shrink parts of who you are just to be accepted. But something in you refused to disappear, and that made life harder. You've been misunderstood, judged without explanation, excluded without reason. People walked away from you, not because you were wrong, but because they couldn't understand your depth. There were nights when your mind wouldn't rest. Moments when everything felt heavy and confusing. You asked yourself questions no one else could answer. Why is this happening to me? Why do I feel so alone? Why does it feel like I'm fighting battles no one else can see? And slowly, that doubt crept in, making you question your worth, your path, even your purpose. But what you didn't realize then is what you're beginning to understand now. None of it was random. Not the pain, not the isolation, not the rejection. Every moment was shaping you. Pause for a second. Really think about this. What if the very thing that made you feel like an outsider is the exact reason you're chosen? What if the discomfort, the confusion, the loneliness was never meant to break you, but to build you into someone rare? You were never meant to blend in. You were set apart on purpose. There's a calling on your life that doesn't follow ordinary paths. That's why your journey has felt different. That's why people couldn't fully understand you. God had to separate you before he could elevate you. Because not everyone can go where you're going. And not everyone is meant to walk into your next season. Here's the truth. Most people won't say out loud. Your future requires protection. Not everyone who smiles at you is meant to celebrate you. Not everyone who listens to your story deserves access to your next chapter. That's why when your breakthrough comes, when your life starts to shift, when abundance begins to flow into your reality, you must move in silence. Because your blessing is not just a reward, it's a responsibility. You've fought battles most people couldn't even imagine. You've stayed strong in moments where others would have given up. You've carried pain quietly, without applause, without recognition. And now, things are about to change. Doors will open. Opportunities will appear unexpectedly. People will start noticing you in ways they never did before. But this is not the time to announce everything. This is the time to observe, to protect, to stay grounded because elevation attracts attention. And not all attention is good. Some people only understand you at your lowest. They're comfortable with your struggle. They recognize your pain, but your growth, your success, your abundance. That's unfamiliar to them. And unfamiliar things make people uncomfortable. Some will question you. Some will doubt you. Some will secretly hope you return to who you used to be. Not because they hate you, but because your growth forces them to face their own limitations. So you learn something powerful. Silence is not weakness. It's protection. It's wisdom. It's alignment. You don't need validation anymore. You don't need to explain your journey to people who never understood your struggle. Because what God is doing in your life doesn't require an audience. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed a pattern? Every time you were about to move forward, something tried to pull you back. A distraction. A setback. A person. That wasn't random. That was resistance. That was the test before the breakthrough. And now you're reaching a point where you're no longer reacting the same way. You're changing. You're growing. You're becoming more aware. This is where everything shifts. You stop explaining yourself. You stop oversharing your plans. You stop looking for approval from people who don't see your vision. Instead, you move differently. You become intentional with your energy. You protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. You begin to understand that silence holds power. There's strength in not reacting. There's wisdom in not revealing everything. There's authority in trusting what's meant for you will not pass you by. You begin to trust the process, even when it doesn't make sense, even when the path feels uncertain. Because now, you see something deeper. God is not just blessing you. He's positioning you for opportunities you can't yet see, for connections that will shift your life, for moments that will define your future. And those moments require focus. They require discipline. They require a version of you that is not distracted by noise. Now listen carefully. This part matters. When your life begins to change, when money starts flowing, when doors open without force, when everything begins to align, don't rush to tell everyone. Don't seek applause. Don't try to prove anything. Because the right people will notice without you saying a word, and the wrong ones will reveal themselves through your silence. Think about this. What if your biggest blessing depends on your ability to stay quiet? What if protecting your peace is the key to maintaining everything you're about to receive? You're stepping into a new version of yourself, a version that no longer chases, but attracts, a version that doesn't beg, but receives, a version that doesn't doubt, but trusts. And with that transformation comes a new level of discipline. You become selective. Not everyone gets access to you anymore. Not everyone gets to hear your plans. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into your next chapter, because this chapter is different. It's sacred. It's the reward for everything you endured. Every time you stayed strong when you wanted to give up, every time you chose growth over comfort, every time you held on when it would have been easier to let go. This is your moment. But it's not a moment to broadcast. It's a moment to protect, to nurture, to build quietly. Because what you're building is bigger than temporary validation. It's bigger than attention. It's something lasting, something meaningful, something aligned with your purpose. And here's what you need to hear right now. You're not behind. You're not lost. You're not forgotten. Everything is unfolding exactly when it's supposed to. The delays were protection. The confusion was redirection. The isolation was preparation. You were being shaped into who you needed to become, and now you're stepping into alignment, into clarity, into purpose. This is your confirmation. You are chosen. Not because you're perfect, but because you endured what others couldn't, because you stayed when it was easier to leave, because you believed when nothing made sense. And now God is about to surprise you in ways you didn't expect, in ways you didn't plan, in ways that will leave you speechless. But remember this, not everything is meant to be shared. Some blessings are meant to be experienced, not explained. Some victories are meant to be lived, not announced. Move in silence. Trust the process. Protect your energy, because where you're going, not everyone can follow. So the next time you feel the urge to tell everyone your plans, pause. The next time something amazing happens and you want to share it instantly, pause and ask yourself, is this meant to be shared or protected? Because your next level depends on your awareness. This is your season, your breakthrough, your elevation. Stay grounded, stay focused, stay silent when it matters most. Because what God is doing in your life is too powerful to be exposed too soon. And when the time is right, you won't need to say anything. The results will speak for themselves. Subscribe if you feel this message was meant for you.